Imagine stepping outside and not knowing if you'd survive the day, because your planet has become a literal death trap. Welcome to Earth during one of its most brutal eras where every breath, every step, every moment could kill you. Keep watching. You're about to walk through one of the most horrifying chapters in human history. This imagined nightmare plays out roughly 130,000 years ago during the last glacial maximum, also called the Worm, Wisconsin, or Valdai glaciation, that spans parts of northern Eurasia and North America, where temperatures plummeted to levels so cold that entire landscapes froze solid. Yet paradoxically, in the tropics and subtropics, heat, humidity, disease, predators, volcanic fallout turned life into a daily gamble. Why does it matter? Because this wasn't just an ice age, it was a global survival game so intense, it shaped human evolution forever. Let's start with the obvious. The cold. Picture glaciers miles, thick, towering like skyscrapers, grinding through forests and burying half the land in ice. In northern Europe, temperatures dropped 15 to 20 degrees Celsius below modern averages. You'd step outside and feel like you'd plunged into liquid nitrogen. Glaciers in Scandinavia were up to 3 kilometers thick, enough to swallow entire mountain ranges. That's like building a giant ice wall that stretches from New York City to Los Angeles, drops 10 times your average 5-story building in height. Early Homo sapiens were no match for that cold. Without the right clothing or fire, survival meant instant death from exposure, frostbite, or hypothermia. But cold wasn't the only enemy. As we zoom deeper into the tropics, think equatorial Africa or Southeast Asia, the threats got unexpectedly worse. Now imagine fleeing south into jungles so hot and sticky your sweat evaporates slower than it drips. Scorching humidity, 40 degrees Celsius heat, and heat indices surpassing 50. It feels like standing in a steam room wearing concrete armor. In some equatorial regions, heat stress peaked at a 55-degree heat index, lethal even for a few minutes. It's like being trapped in a sauna the size of a football field with no escape door. Dehydration, heat exhaustion, and heat stroke would have claimed children and elders within hours. But while the climate was lethal, the world had other nastier dangers lurking too. Let's talk predators. Prehistoric predators had one job: beat you. And they took that quite literally. Think dire wolves, giant hyenas, saber-toothed cats, and monstrous crocodiles, some up to 7 meters long, strong enough to snap bone like twigs. The crocodiles alone could exert bite forces over 16,000 newtons. That's double today's Nile crocodile. A bite that strong could crush a phone like a grape. No walls, no weapons. If you stumbled into their jaw zone, your lunch without a second's warning. Still, these are just the known beasts. There were stranger, deadlier threats, found not in jaws but in the air. Insects and microbes. Most people think the Ice Age was cold and sterile. They're wrong. It was a petri dish. Mosquitoes bred unchecked in stagnant pools warmed by volcanic hot springs, pumping out ancient diseases nobody had immunity to. Malaria, dengue-like fevers, and unknown pathogens could kill 20 to 30% of entire tribes during outbreaks. Imagine the deadliest flu season ever, but magnified by 10, and without modern medicine. Families wiped out overnight. Survivors fled in terror. As if that wasn't enough, Mother Nature rolled out one final horror. The Earth itself turned lethal. Volcanoes erupted like fury-filled gods. Ash plumes soared tens of kilometers into the sky. Pyroclastic flows, superheated clouds at over 700 degrees Celsius, roared down mountainsides at hundreds of kilometers per hour, incinerating forests and people. A single volcanic eruption could blanket thousands of square miles with ash, rendering water toxic and smothering crops. That's like a barbecue's embers turned into a continent-scale blanket of death. Famine, poisoned water, and a choked instant death or slow suffocation. When you layer all these cold, heat, predators, diseases, volcanoes, your world becomes a trap. But there's still one twist in the tale. Surviving was pure chance, plus cunning. Humans had to develop fire-bow drills, insulated clothing, makeshift shelters, bitter herbal medicines, and stealth to outsmart the world. Some estimates suggest only 5 to 10% of migrating bands survived the combination of climate, predators, and disease each year. If you tried to cross a highway of speeding trains, on fire, in a hailstorm, only 1 in 10 people make it across. Welcome to prehistory. Those who survived passed on genes for creativity, resourcefulness, and resilience, traits we take for granted today. Side note: in some fossil sites, scientists found charred bones buried beneath ash layers, evidence that people cooked themselves alive in shelters during pyroclastic events. Surviving nature often meant hiding so deep you never come out. So, Earth wasn't just cold or hot, it was lethal. A living gauntlet where climate conspired with predators, disease, and geologic fury to cull most of the weak. It's no wonder human evolution favored cunning over brawn. But here's the twist: the real lesson isn't how fragile we are, it's how adaptable we became. Look around you. Fire-warmed homes, vaccines, weather forecasts. None of that existed then. In that crucible of death, our ancestors became storytellers, inventors, survivors. Humanity thriving now is a direct echo of those who somehow, some way, outlasted the chaos. Remember that comfort you feel now. It's built on centuries of survival in a world that explored every way to kill us. So next time you shiver or sweat, just be glad you lived today.